Hi, and welcome to this webinar together with Penneo, where we will look at people and culture. Today with me I have Jan, CTO, and Mikkel, head of people and culture. And just to frame it, why do we as a as investors or financial community should be interested in people and culture? And I think a lot of people forget that driving a growth company, especially in the software sector, you need a lot of growth and you need a lot of people to drive this. So, if you lose focus on this one, you probably won't be able to drive the growth you have expected. So it is actually a big part of the business model, and I know especially Penneo has put a lot of focus on this subject. So I think it would be very interesting to present those thoughts. A little bit housekeeping: you can ask questions during the presentation on your right side. And let me, to start with, say today we have guys who are not financial or CEOs, and so we will not answer questions on financial matters, even if they should come. Just to clarify that we are sorry, but no worry, we will soon return with financial information. So today is really a focus on people and culture and how that is driving the growth and helping driving the growth. But Jan, maybe you can take over from here and start the presentation.
Yes, definitely I can. Please go to the next slide. So hi guys, my name is Jan. As already been mentioned, I'm CTO of Penneo and I'm also one of the founders. Today's topic is placed in the category of ESG, or environment, social, and governance. It's a topic, or it's a number of topics that's really important for us as a company, and I'm really happy to see this movement as well in investment circles, that you don't only focus on the financial numbers but also focus on stuff like sustainability. It's always been part of the way that we've been thinking about business and doing business in Penneo. To just quickly kind of place this inside a company as ours, when you talk about environment and you talk about governance, those are two areas that we actually touch with the product that we built and the business that we do the day to day. So from an environment perspective, we're in automating workflows that would normally happen in the physical world with paper and printers and stuff like that. So just the fact that you can stop relying on cutting down trees and producing machines is something that will benefit the environment. On the governance side, we are very strong on audit. Audit has a lot to do with corporate governance and the way that you oversee companies. So it's topics like fraud and corruption and stuff like that we kind of move around there. But when it comes to the social aspect, I think it's something that we haven't really touched so much on when we talk Penneo and when we talk like in the public sphere. So that's why we're really happy today to be able to talk about this. This is something that has been mentioned that we believe is a core part of our business, not only from being able to scale and succeed, but also being able to differentiate ourselves as a working place. So yeah, I guess that's the word for passing it on to Mikkel.
This introduction. Hi guys. Yeah, just to introduce myself, I'm Mikkel Clausen. I'm head of people and culture, and of course I'm happy to have the opportunity to talk about the S in the ESG. I'll try to mix, of course, both examples and topics, and I hope that'll inspire for a nice Q&A, and so that we can go deep on the content that caught your attention. So, of course, there are a lot of great reasons and ways to invest in people. And we, as Jan said, we've been doing so for since a long time ago, before we knew about ESG, at least. So to start out with, I would like to highlight that the Penneo, the level of happiness and engagement is our key metrics. We are a group of knowledge workers, and we know that if we are high on happiness and engagement, this leads to performance in innovation, collaboration, and of course knowledge sharing. And we heavily depend on that. So of course this is what my team, the people and culture team, is is working hard to ensure, but also to make sure that the rest of the Penneo team can help out and take part in this project. It's super important to sort of team source this responsibility as well, and we actually have like a work title for that. It's called "In This Together." It is really a team effort to make it work. Like if it was for my team to do that only, I think we would will not be as good at it as we are right now. So we have great ambitions, and we try to manage our human capital as well, like that. And next slide, please. So to uncover how we do that, the way we see it, success is a team sport. And to keep the lingo, going into the 21 season, we'll be working with this much like as you would work with developing a professional sport team. We hire for much more than skills only. Social capacity and the ability to support and grow team unity is crucial to us, so that we know that Penneo grows stronger for every new person that joins us, and so that we keep people for a long time, maybe even forever, at least as a work-life memory. This year we will be working with communication and feedback design, so that we have sort of a unified platform for this. It'll be trained by external coaches and of course internal leaders, and eventually all of the team will perform this. So furthermore, we have a project called Flow. This is where it gets experimental, I would say, and sort of the work title for that is like we need to make sure that we put people in or make people become the best version of themselves. And how do we do that? Well, right now the project includes both the nutrition, exercise, such as surfing, breathing exercises, and much more. And of course, our workspace plays a big role in that as well. If you could jump to the next slide, please.
Maybe I can just add a little thing here, just as an example, to kind of maybe strengthen the sports analogy a little bit. You all know about like when you see a sports team and you have somebody who becomes demotivated, for example, because now we're behind 1-0 or whatever it could be. That demotivation or like the mental state of people actually have a ripple effect in everybody else. So you could say that the mental readiness or preparedness of everybody actually plays a key role. Doing knowledge work is not only about knowing stuff, it's also to be in the right mental state to be able to actually execute it in a performance, how can you say, optimal manner. It's just to place it in the company context.
Yeah.
And how do you measure this? I don't know whether you will get in on the next coming slides. How do you measure? Do you have a system put up, always to try and measure? And and a system is a wrong word, but by interviews or leaders, always trying to pick up when there's some changes. How do we have anything in set in system or doing something there to pick up when maybe something is sliding from that part for individual persons?
Yeah, I would say and I will get back to that, so I'll try to keep it short. Of course, we are working with what I said initially, key metrics such as engagement and the level of happiness. We use surveys for that. But we also have what we like to call canaries, like in the mind. You have like little telltales around, so that you sort of like you're in touch with what's going on. And I think to a great extent, what we try to enforce and allow for in Penneo is for everybody to be able to state their mind if something is not right or if they disagree. So for that reason, it's not about having a system or some way of measuring. Of course, we should do that, but I would much rather prefer to have it in my face if something's not right. So, and that is also why we can talk about the office. This picture here before Corona, of course, about a year ago, and the team half the size we are today. Before that, we left what I would call an office in Søborg. and moved into this great spot. We call it not an office, but a company home now. It has a name. It's called Tech Kitchen, and it's because of the fact that it's an old industrial kitchen on top of the music venue Vega. It's a big investment, but it's really shown very important to us that to provide for a cool and tailor-made workspace that support the work behavior that we try to promote and to create, and this whole like culture project that my team is working with. Furthermore, sort of like on the more technical side, of course, we have built in stuff that will sort of support what we're doing, and one of those things is an IoT project where we connect, the inventory such as screens, light, and sound, so that we sort of track what's going on in the business and be able to sort of celebrate everything that's going on. That's both like micro and mega celebrations. Not only like say in sales, but we could easily celebrate what's going on in product as well. Have a sound for a new feature. So that's really important, and maybe more normal stuff such as focus areas, dedicated collaboration areas, and what we call flow zones. And as you can see, when the sun is out in Denmark, you need to enjoy it. So we have like tons of terrace space for that.
And I have a question. I think it fits in here finally. Do you have some health initiatives? You talked about the surfing, but do you have a more, now I use the word schedule again. I know you don't like that, but do you have some health initiatives?
We do. First of all, one initiative was to remove the energy soda and introduce healthy smoothies. And that is something we will be doing way more going forward. Maybe even have like nutrition experts tied to the business, to the culture project, because we know it's part of finding that best version of yourself. So that's really important that we sort of outline what does it take to meet up and then to be prepared and feel good. So it's definitely part of the 21 project that we have.
I can see the question also here, do we have a dedicated time during the work hour, not dedicated allowance of letting people do exercise and such stuff?
No, they should also always feel free to do that.
If they want to.
We have a nice old lady called Carmen, and she walks around the office and looks at people and see whether they feel good and ask them whether they need water or a juice or anything. So that's at least one initiative, and she's really great.
Yeah, and I guess we also encourage people to take breaks and to work when they feel in the work zone instead of having to work in a dedicated time. I would say we have a pretty how would you call it?
Flexible.
I would say maybe loose, but it sounds a little bit strange. But we don't force people to work at specific points in time or specific locations. So it, of course, also demands a lot of the individual to be responsible. But that is the kind of, I guess that's typical Danish in many ways. Frihed under ansvar.
Yes.
Yeah. So next slide, please.
Yep.
Yeah. So we, as Jan just said, we talked about that. We do have a global talent attraction strategy, which means that. And of course, that is in order to try and attract the best from all over the world. We are currently 21 different nationalities out of like 80 people, roughly. And of course, with that comes the responsibility to provide for, of course, diversity and inclusion. We do have a few people that wear blue shirts, but that is actually because that is who they are, right? So how do you do this? This is of course something we always try to get better at, since we have so many people from all over the world. But always allow for people to be themselves. They don't have to be Penneo or learn how to be sort of how do you be Penneo? Just like be yourself. And this is it's you that we want here. It's not you don't have to change yourself. Make sure that that everybody can feel heard, that they can be heard, and that they have a voice, so that they can feel part of supporting this sense of affiliation. And of course we use weekly all hands for that. And it's what we say is like it's important that the best idea always wins, and make sure that it's possible to tell it. I think we need to.
Maybe we should also add. Now it sounds like it's like we can take everybody, and actually we're looking for some key things as well, and it's only 2. So the 2 things we're looking for when we're looking for new people is open-mindedness and the ability and willingness to keep on learning throughout your life. Those are like 2 key, how do you say, skills, or how you call it, personal traits that we're looking for.
Yeah, and of course this ties also to what you said before about how do we collect information, how do we track whether people are feeling happy or like be able to state themselves, and of course we use use tools for that, so that they feel part of the journey and can chip in. Next slide. So we have some pretty nice values, I would say. One of them, or like 2 in 1, is clarity and transparency. To know exactly what is the company vision, have guiding stars, and be able to feel a strong purpose in reaching those is fundamental to us. Therefore, our pre and onboarding of our new teammates has that as first priority. We need to understand the full puzzle to be able to take part in the creation of it. And of course, we owe all new team members that. And with overview and direction, I think follows the ability to execute as as well as a team, as an individual. So that's how we like to develop a scalable workforce.
Yeah, and it's also an organizational strategy, you could say, because if you are able to provide clarity and transparency around what's going on, it enables everybody to better make decisions, so that you don't have this decision structure where everything goes to the CEO, for example, and he has or she has to do micro decisions. So it is also a way to be scalable.
Yeah. So next slide, please. Yeah. So this one, also one of our values is vulnerability. It's one that's easy to put in a slide or to state at all hands, but it is actually it is something that takes courage, and that's why we work hard to make sure that this is what we have, showing vulnerability. It's not something we allow for; it's actually mandatory, and we know for sure. Yeah, and we know that people will be happy to sort of be held accountable and take responsibility if they can do so in a safe environment. That's why it means so much to us. And it's safe to say that all Penneos has great ambitions and high expectations, and of course with that follows the risk of disappointment and the need for help and or support. And showing vulnerability makes it so much easier for both my team and then for fellow teammates to help out. Again, this is as we grow, we really rely on this value and strength.
And like natural question would probably be how do you enforce, or how do you not distribute, what do you call it? Like get people to get in that state of being vulnerable. And for us, the way that we work with this very tangibly in Penneo is that if you have a leadership group that shows vulnerability, this kind of spreads out through the organization, because it shows that it's allowed to not be perfect every time. It's allowed to make mistakes, and as long as you're open and honest about it, then everything is going to be fine, and that works extremely well, I would say. But it takes a lot of courage from the individuals that needs to carry this out, because it's not easy to kind of take yourself into the doing business. That's basically what you're doing, your own private person, and with the risk of being made fool of or feel like you're basically an idiot. But this is something that's really strong. It's a really strong concept.
Yeah.
I have a question here. I think maybe we should take, you have those cultural fits possible, but how do you actually, is there any tools you use to make them go through the organization? I can see there's a question out here.
Tools, as Jan said, I think the best tool here is to do it yourself, show by leading. To be able to get up there on stage and say, I didn't do well enough, and or just simply go ask for help. Say, I need your inspiration. I need you to chip in on this. So that will be, learning by doing, sort of. And of course, since we are getting a lot of new people on the team, is also to repeat this and to say it over and over again. And as I said initially, this is not like the task of people and culture. This is for everybody, so that we can scale and stay true to this value.
I don't believe that you can tool yourself out of things like these. It's a matter of getting people in the right state of mind in this like team thinking, that you're actually part of a group. You don't just go to work every day because you have to and you sign the contract with the company. You go there because you genuinely like it. You like the people that you're working with, and you feel that you're getting more from going to work than from staying home. This evolves you as a human being, and it gives you a sense of purpose in your life. This is what we're trying to achieve, that this very strong group connection. And I think once you get to that stage, then like figuring out, like we talked about before, figuring out if it's going good or if it's going bad, it's going to be obvious if it's going good or bad, because you have so many people in the organization that is aware of this and that will come to you and say, hey, I've been worried about this or that. So like tooling, I don't think tooling is the solution, to be honest.
Okay.
And there's also a question here, maybe you will get into it. I think it's how you manage knowledge, learning and skills, I don't know whether you have it on the next slide, but also it fits in here, I think so.
Yeah. So that maybe that's where we're starting to look into tools in order to support and to grow knowledge sharing. That's one thing, and also the type of talent that we have. New great tools shows up all the time for sort of talent mapping, for us to be able to construct and to build with that data. It's super interesting, and you can even get like cultural data now, so that so you know what kind of guy or girl is it that you are in front of, and be able to sort of apply that to an area in your business where it's missing. So
yeah, but this is not I wouldn't say it's an area where we're so strong as a company. It's like this is something that we're just beginning to explore, and it's also, I guess, due to, if you look at the journey that we've been on as a company. When you're a smaller company, let's say you're 20 people, like the need for knowledge sharing and the need for being aligned, it happens naturally because everybody knows what's going on everywhere. But as soon as you become like 70, 80, I guess above 50 people, then this becomes a huge topic. And it's something that we've been slowly like accelerating over the past year, I would say.
Yeah, perfect. I see time flies. So next slide, please. Yeah, so trust and autonomy, that's something close to my heart. I guess in general, we look for people that'll show the way, and quite often we hire great talent that left another great company simply because of the fact that they felt like put on rails where to go and when to be there. And that is, of course, not at least not how we do, and that's not how you treat talent, right? So when onboarded in Penneo, and when people feel ready for it, it's our duty to of course allow for autonomy and outline whatever key results and provide for a broad frame that people can work within. And we see we really see how these people really, if it's the right, if it's a match, of course, how they flourish in this, having the freedom to activate their talent, and quite often we experience like a remarkable personal growth from that and gratitude from doing so. So next slide.
Maybe can I just say 2 words about that? Just to put some terms on it that you might be able to look up. Then one thing that we practice a lot is what's called servant leadership. And like the opposite of micromanagement, you could call it macromanagement. Like create like broad guidelines where you can actually navigate in, so you don't get bored with your very narrow headed work. I don't know. Goals.
Yeah.
I think bored is the right answer. Right? Isn't that the most reason to change jobs? So I think it was a good answer.
Yeah. I don't know how much all you guys out there know about this, and maybe it all sounds very creative. But I would like to emphasize that it's not something, all of it, at least that we can claim ownership of. Like we find a great inspiration in thought leaders and business people that did this before us, and believed in the similar values and the basic human needs, which all of it, of course, is. And there's a lot to learn from these guys, and thankfully we don't have to invent everything ourselves, I would say. Next slide. Yeah. So to wrap this up, I've seen a lot of great, wall stickers, do what you love, and blah blah blah, all that culture classics, I would call them. But it's so damn important to be genuine and don't to put words into actions, even though it's small actions, and of course try to resist short-term thinking and whatever pressure you're under. Yeah, stay true to company values, and that isn't easy. It's actually quite hard.
Perfect. I think we have gone through a lot of questions. How do you ensure people's talents are activated and seen? And I guess that's always what you feel as an employee. Why don't you see me?
Yeah, that could happen. Again, I think we have weekly all hands. It's an open stage. It's an open mic. If you want to present something, if you want to, brag about what you've done this week, we allow for that always. And we have a lot of channels in what we call the tool that we have is Slack. It's so a lot of stuff is going on all the time, and you can take part and provide for collaboration and this whole getting to know each other even better. If you have a cat, or if you like to do bread, or if you're out running. So all the time we sort of share and interact, both during work hours and after.
I would say we also give people a lot of big task, how do you call it? I lost the word. You know what I mean. So give them some big responsibilities basically, and let them run with it. And that okay, maybe 70% goes well, and then the 30% that doesn't go well, we pick it up afterwards. But that really initiates people, that it turns on some kind of a fire in them, that hey, we can do this. It's almost like with kids, right? When they get on the bike and they don't really know how to, and then you just give them 5-10 minutes, and then all of a sudden they're riding and they're proud for the next 3 weeks, right?
I'm afraid we're running out of time. It's very, very interesting, but I need to pull it back from this. Now I go back to the financial market. 1, is it working? Do you see your people staying? 2, are you able to attract the people you are? And 3, maybe how do you do it? I guess the world is your playground. Do you have any good strategies for that? So I pull it a little bit back to the share market. I'm sorry.
Maybe stories just to examples to back that this we really believe this actually is working. We have a fair amount of ex-employees that, of course, left the company, but they left the company for different reasons. For example, to pursue another career because they were studying at the time, or just this was their first job, stuff like that. But they tend to come back, and they tend to stay in the Penneo ecosystem. They tend to keep on wearing the shirts, sometimes sending pictures. You get a text message or a Facebook message with them, hey, I'm on this offsite with my new team members from Microsoft, or it could be, look, I'm wearing the Penneo shirt, right? So this is kind of the indications that this is actually working, and it sticks with them. They feel proud about it. Perfect. And the last question, if we can catch it, we have 1 minute left. But and do you see the applicants enough to fuel your growth? You feel that you get enough applicants through the world? Yeah, I would say so. It's everybody. I think we can measure on tech talent, because everybody's talking about developers and how do you find good developers. Everybody's there's not enough developers in the world and all of this. We've been able to attract, I would say, some of the most skilled people in engineering that I've ever worked with. And I would say I've actually been working with a lot of different people from a lot of different countries. So I think we're doing extremely well on that front. And I think it partly because of the international mindset that we have. We are recruiting from a base of 7 billion people. instead of a base of, let's say, 5 or 6 million in Denmark, or even more if you only recruit in the Copenhagen area. So it's become a differentiator for us, also because we have an international culture. Everybody speaks English. Like, it's so much easier to keep on taking people that are not native Danes and make them succeed in the company.
Perfect. I think I'm sorry we didn't catch all the questions. I'm very glad for all the questions. I hope we got through the most and say thank you for really going through your thoughts on how to manage people, or whatever you like to call it. So thank you for this time, and thank you to the viewers.
Yeah, thanks to all the participants.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank Mika. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.